shadow of a doubt. I know without a doubt that He will bring. Oh yes, He's gonna do. Hallelujah. What God has for me is for me. If you really believe it tonight, come on, why don't you help us sing? It is for me. It is for me. It is for me. Hallelujah. What God has for me, it is for me.
Come on, let's say it. I know
That He's gonna do it. Yeah.
Can I say it again? Somebody's looking for healing. What God has for me, not just say it is for me. Hallelujah. Oh, what God has for me, you can't take it. It is for me. Come on, let's say it together. I know. He
What God has for me.
Hallelujah.
What God the blessing He has in store for me. He's gonna give me the victory. My peace, my joy, my understanding. What God has for me, it is for me. It is for me. It is you see hope. I see broken, but you see beautiful. And you're helping me to believe that you're restoring me piece by piece. What was dead now still lives again. My heart's beating inside my chest. Oh, I'm coming alive with joy and destiny. Oh, 'cause you're restoring me piece by piece. There's nothing too dirty that you can make worthy. You wash me in mercy. I am clean. There's nothing too dirty that you can make worthy. You wash me in mercy. I am clean. Washed in the blood of your sacrifice. Your blood flows red and made me white. My dirty rags are purified. I am clean. Oh yes. Washed in the blood of your sacrifice. Your blood flows red and made me white. My dirty rags are purified. I am clean. I'm clean. Oh, Lord, I'm washed in the blood of your sacrifice. Your blood flows red and made me white. My dirty rags are purified. I am clean. I'm clean. Oh, washed in the blood of your sacrifice. Your blood flows red and made me white. My dirty rags are purified. I am clean. Oh yes, you made me. You washed me clean. Oh yes, you made me. You washed me clean. Oh Lord, you made me. You washed me clean. Oh yeah, you made me. You washed me clean. Oh, you made me. You washed, Lord, you washed me. Oh, Lord, you made me. You washed me. You washed, Lord, you washed me. You washed me.
Connecting the community through gospel.
The new 107.9 FM, W300EB,
Macon and WDDO 980 AM,
Perry.
Macon. Connecting the community through gospel.
The new 107.9 FM, W300EB,
Macon and WDDO 980 AM,
Perry.
Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast. Ask Elaine, better ask Elaine. Ask Elaine, better ask Elaine. Ask Elaine.
All right, welcome again. Since you see our gorgeous glowing faces on here today, you know that it's Wednesday, you know that it's 3 p.m., and we're going to be here till 4. This is your voice, Commissioner Elaine Lucas, welcoming you to Ask Elaine. This is your talk, your weekly talk and information program. We are always glad to have you there, whether it's on AM, FM, or on the Glory Live. We do want to welcome you once again and thank you so much for tuning in, because when you tune in to Ask Elaine, you get smarter.
Amen.
And we're very proud of that. We always try to have some information that's going to help you to navigate all of the things that you have to deal with. And there are so many things. We want to welcome those who are on the Glory Live. Kimberly Houston is there, and Desmond Brown, the District 2 candidate for the Water Board, is on with us today. Desmond, welcome. You still got that hard hat? We see him with that blue hard hat. He certainly does work hard. He really does. And I want to introduce to you our co-host, who is none other that Randy Crawford just joined us, and Eloise Jefferson Hall. Welcome, y'all. Everybody, welcome. We are joined by our co-host. We were able to get him. He had such a busy schedule that we are fortunate whenever we can get him. None other than the Pastor Larry Dunning, who is with us today. Thank you so much for coming.
Always glad to be
And
here.
we, after we hear a little motivation from Pastor Dunning, then we're going to introduce to you and hear from our special guest, who is none other than Mr. George Thomas, who is a candidate for County Commission District 6. And so we're going to ask him to tell about where that district is located. And if you're living in that district, you'll want to listen up. Because he is a candidate. And we'll get to all of that. But Pastor Dunning, if you'll open us up, please.
Yes, ma'am. I'm always honored to be here. One of my favorite public service in the whole wide
Yeah,
world.
he just talking.
I am telling you,
Pastor.
I only say that because it is the
We,
truth.
we appreciate it. We really do.
So our focus this week, this is our Holy Week, and many of you have been going to the revival services ran by the mayor of the city, and they'll be at my church tomorrow. But I'm gonna give you a little glimpse of what we're gonna talk about tomorrow. But it all boils down to one word, and that is love. Jesus Christ demonstrated his love. When Jesus talked to Nicodemus, he said, "For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believe in him shall have eternal life." The whole story of redemption was about God loving the world. Oh, yes, Adam messed up, Eve messed up, and you and I have messed up.
Yeah,
But we don't have to stay messed up because the love of Christ is here to join us and give us eternal life. Tomorrow's message is, yes, Jesus loves me.
Oh,
So
okay.
he, in the midst of all that crisis, everything was deplorable, despicable, discouraging. He took the time and he took a basin. Can you hear the water falling into the basin? And he washed his disciples' feet. Now, that was not a job for the person who was in charge. You had servants to wash feet, but Jesus stooped down and washed 24 feet, stinky, nasty, dusty feet, just to prove to them that he loved them. And he went on to the cross because he loved them. And I just want you to love on somebody else. Jesus Christ was demonstrating his love for the world. He wanted them to know if you love somebody, you will serve them, because the sons of Zebedee, James and John, wanted to be on the right side of him. Mama Zebedee said, I want my son to sit on your left and your right. That's not bad. The first glimpse they just selfish. No. When you want your son and daughter to be on the left and right side of Jesus. But the point I'm making is he showed them what being in place. He said, if you're going to be great in the kingdom, you got to serve. I'm just delighted in my conclusion. When the preacher said in the conclusion, he just gets started.
Yeah, I know. That was
In my conclusion,
my eyes glazed over.
one of the greatest servants in this county is Commissioner Elaine Lucas. She served this community, and I just want you to know one of the greatest demonstrations of love is serving. And we have a person that would like to serve us today. He's going to share with us, because to love somebody is to serve
It's to
somebody.
serve. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so very much. That's a great way to open this program up. We also want to welcome my sister Nita to the program. We want to welcome Patricia Booz. Of course, we've mentioned Desmond Brown, and Randy Crawford, Eloise Jefferson Hall. All of you are so very welcome. If y'all would press like and share to remind that everybody that we are on, so that they can tune in if they wish on the Glory Live. Um, and before we bring our very special candidate on to tell you all about himself and why you should support him for the office that he's running for, we want to remind you that you cannot vote if you are not registered.
Amen.
So if you plan to vote and you plan to, take part and be part of the solution instead of part of the ongoing problem, you will need to register. And if you need information, you can drop into the Board of Elections out at the Macon Mall. That's just booming out there. There's just stuff going on out there. It's just amazing. Y'all need to go see where all of our money is going.
That's good.
You can walk around inside and see what's out there. But anyway, Board of Elections is now located inside the main office inside of the Macon Mall. You can walk, you can go play pickleball, you can go to eat dinner, you can shop. There are a number of things. And then if you're going to a show, just on Sunday, they opened up with what was it? ZZ Top and
In the amphitheater?
yeah,
Really?
yeah. What was the other one? Leonard Skinner, which is I mean a well known
Mm-hmm.
they are well known, very well known, and the attendance was like 6,500.
Very good.
And it looked full to me. So I'm looking forward to Anthony Hamilton. I really am, and there's not a bad seat in the house. But back to the Board of Elections, you cannot vote if you are not registered. So, that's all I'm going to say about that. But if you are interested in getting a list of all of the candidates who are running, we have these lists that are complements of the Macon-Bibb County Democratic Party. And we have a list of all of the candidates who are running, Democrats and Republicans. So you get a chance. It's a nonpartisan list. But now, see, I'm partisan. I'm a Democrat. So I don't mind telling you who I'm supporting. But this list is one that's coming from the Democratic Party. and it has a list of all of the candidates. So all you have to do is look at your voter registration card or go on Secretary of State's My Voter page, put your information in. It will show you all of the areas that you will be voting in,
Mhm.
the districts and that you live in,
Mhm.
and the votes that you will be able where you will be able to cast a vote. And so you can match that up and use this list
Mhm.
to find the candidates, the people who are running, the ones that you'll be making a decision between. And so we repeat, you cannot vote if you're not registered. You must be registered 30 days prior to an election to be eligible to vote in it. And that just reminds us of Maria Bryant, who passed away a
Mm.
few weeks ago. She was Miss Voter Registration here in Macon, just a dedicated person to the NAACP and anything else that she was a part of. She was truly committed. And if she were here today, she would be telling you that voter registration, voting, is one of the most important things that you can do. And we always say here, books, the ballot, are the keys to your success, which brings us to one other thing, Mr. Thomas, before I call on you, because we're anxious to hear from you. But the legislature is in the final days. They are in committees today,
Mhm.
but tomorrow they will finish up. That's day 40. The state legislature, Senate and House, meet for 40 days,
Mhm.
January to March. They will be finishing up tomorrow. And then at the close, they call that sine die.
Mhm.
But anyway, they last night, I think they were in session until late into the night, and they passed some stuff probably that we probably don't need,
Mhm.
because they're rushing to get a lot of it done. But tomorrow night, they'll be rushing as well. But there are some proposals that are before the legislature. There are a lot of them that deal with elections and voting and placing additional requirements
Mm.
on people and giving more rights to people who might want to take your right away from you. One of those things is to tighten up and allow more people to challenge more voters. You know that I could walk in when you're voting, either
Mm.
one of you, and I could say, I don't think you're registered to vote. And that would be a legitimate challenge.
Wow.
And it would go forward with an investigation, and you would have to prove that you are actually a legitimate voter before your vote is cast. And there's an unlimited number of folks that I could do that way.
Mhm.
I could just stand there, which is the goal of this
Mhm.
kind of stuff.
Intimidation.
Stand there, and I could all day say, they're not registered to vote. I don't believe they're and that little short one over there, and that
Mhm.
tall one, and that black one, and that white one. That can be done. That's
Commissioner, with no evidence before you say
with
that?
no evidence. The evidence comes later,
Later.
and it's incumbent upon you, the voter, to prove.
Mm. Wow.
I can just, that is one of the Republican tactics that they're using to try and intimidate people.
Mhm.
That is why we're telling everybody, please check your voter status, check
Right.
it every week. I go on my voter page with the Secretary of State's office every week and check. And when I see that my registration is active, I'm good. But I would encourage all of you to check your status as well and have all of your family and friends to check your status, because there are some people who are not operating in the best interest of democracy in
Mhm.
our country. So you got to be on guard. And we want to welcome Patrick Davis, who is our statistics person. And he has posted some links to Georgia lawmakers could still tinker with election rules in waning days of 2024. Yeah, that's what I just said. They met up there. And Patrick has posted the My Voter page, Secretary of State.ga.gov, and that's where you can check your voter status. He's also posted the link to an article, Georgia Elections Voter Challenges. They're training
Mm.
their Republican candidates to learn how to challenge voters. And so what we are doing is putting in place additional voter protection
Mhm.
um, procedures so that we are available and we can assist people in fighting off those challenges. But it's just that simple and just that sinister, where somebody can step up and say, and that tall woman that has that radio
That's
program,
right.
I'm challenging her. I don't believe she's registered to vote.
Okay, Commissioner, I know it's proposed now and hasn't gone to the floor, but if I'm standing there with my own voter registration card, wouldn't that stop the investigation?
No,
No?
you'd still have to go through that process of taking it through the folks at the Board of Elections to
Wow.
do what they call cure, CURE, to cure your vote, to prove that you indeed are registered to vote. So it's a process. And these folks know that the average person is just going to get ticked off
That's
because they
right.
know they're registered to vote and they just want you to leave.
Right.
They don't want you to cure your vote.
Mhm.
So that's what this whole thing is about. These elections coming up are going to be close,
Amen.
especially on a national level.
Mhm.
And what is at stake is democracy or dictatorship. Those are the choices. And the dictatorship is putting across this country policies, procedures, laws in place, and judges in place who will decide cases based on what these wannabe dictators
Wannabe
want them
dictators.
to do. And so all of it is a scheme to try and keep the vote down, to make sure that those folks who are not going to vote for them, you shave a few off here, a few over
There.
there, a few over there. And in these great big cities, Philadelphia, Atlanta, other cities, these elections are very, very close.
That's
So
right.
every vote makes a difference. And if they can shave off just a few here and there, then they get
Mhm.
all of the delegates. They
Mhm.
get all of it. So that's the goal. We've got to be ready. Patrick says that democracy is on the ballot in 2024, and indeed it is. We want to once again welcome everyone who's tuned in to Ask Elaine. This is your voice, Commissioner Elaine Lucas, welcoming all of you, whether you're on AM, FM, or you're right here on the Glory Live. Want to welcome all of you to this program today. This is the program where you get smarter. You learn something every time you tune in to Ask Elaine. You learn from us, we learn from you. And Patrick says we can't allow Jim Crow era to come back, and it's on its way. Stuff like this, where somebody can stand up without any proof and say, I don't think they're registered to vote.
Mm.
And the law says that you've got to be the one to prove. That's Jim Crow.
Mhm.
That's Jim Crow. If you're a person and the police have the power to stop you because they think you look
Mm.
like you're an immigrant, that's Jim Crow. That's discrimination. That's dictatorship. All of that. Can't y'all see that all of this is happening and we've got to fight against it? The ballot is the way to fight, which brings me to our very special guest, Mr. George Thomas, who is a candidate for the county commission, District 6. And so we're going to turn it over to you
All right.
and let you introduce yourself. Tell us about your family. Tell us about whatever you want to tell us. And then we'll have Pastor and I'll have some some
Some
special questions
All
for
right.
you. Welcome to Ask Elaine.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I wanted to piggyback on something that you just said about the fact that you can question if someone's voting is legitimate, but yet you cannot question if someone has a firearms license.
Oh, no,
So,
you
so,
can't question that.
so why, it's
Mm-mm,
kind of,
mm-mm.
it lets you know where your priorities are. But my name's George Thomas.
Okay, if you'll speak into that
Oh, in the mic.
microphone.
Let me
Yeah,
scoot it
yeah.
over.
Thank you.
Yeah. My name's George Thomas, and I'm running for county commission seat in District 6. So that encompasses the Lake Wildwood area, most of Lake Tobosoffke, and all of Lizella. I am a husband. I have children. I got, I got two girls in Heritage Elementary School, and I got a 1-year-old going on 40.
Yeah, they come here grown
Yeah,
now
yeah. So he thinks
nowadays.
he running everything, but
Uh-huh.
he's a George too. So we got a true
Oh.
Georges. Um, I did run for election in 2020, and the district changed with the census and when the rezoning maps, and I was in District 4. And now my area, which I'm in right around from Lake Wildwood. So now we all District 6. The current representative in the seat, he focuses on one area of the district. And in actuality, the majority, more than half of the population is on the Thomaston Road corridor of the district. And so it hasn't been equal representation over there. My neighbors and the Lake Wildwood residents, they do not know who their current commissioner is. And yet, they have a lot of concerns. They have a lot of stormwater problems there in Lake Wildwood specifically. And of course, also in Lizella area, they have a lot of stormwater issues where the terrain gets a little flatter. I remember at my parents' house in North Macon, off of Riverly, it was a flood area right in the neighborhood. It's an area that in the yard where the water piled up. And it was corrected. Drainage was put in the yard. So you had to drain it like a 3-step process, and it was knocked out. But then when I go to see the similar things happen in our district, it's not addressed. So that's something that's a problem. Along that is and listening to our current commissioner hasn't had a town hall the entire time he's been there. He got elected back in his term started in 2021. So that's 3.5 years. So it's impossible to know what the needs are if the only people you're talking to is just your friends, your inner circle. So it's some things that need to be addressed out there. It's a growing population, a lot of new builds. We have new apartments coming up, walking areas that don't have sidewalks, even outside of the district. They used to be in District 6 until recently. It's in 8 now. The Heath Road, you got Weaver and Westside. I went to both of those schools. Right in between those, it needs to be sidewalks, right? I vividly remember people leaving practice, walking to the middle school to get their little brother or sister, or having practices or some in middle school. Sometimes you have 8th graders walk up and to do the spring practices and stuff like that when they're about to go to 9th grade. So it's always been a heavy walking area between the schools and no sidewalks. So if I cared about that, I would advocate for that, right? So it's just that just being accessible and have a forward thinking thought in how you try to govern. And so that's what we're like.
Patrick says that Lizella has over 5,000 actively registered voters. Approximately 2,200 are African Americans or Black folks. Some of the largest streets are Bethel Church Road and Knoxville Road. Thank you so much, Patrick, for sharing that information. So, a large percentage of the folks who are in that area, 5,000 are actively registered. 2,200, half of them are Black folks. So,
Right.
And you make some very important points, because I say all the time that There's some folks in some areas who you're going to hear from them
Mm-hmm.
because they know what their rights are as citizens. They take it seriously and they demand to have that dead animal picked up
Right.
off the street. We tend to sit and wait
Mm-hmm.
and wait and wait
Right.
and complain and complain and complain. That's not going to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these services are report driven.
Right.
They're request driven.
Mhm.
And you have to call and make the request in order to get for somebody to know
Mm-hmm.
that it needs to be done. And in some areas, it's not that people are deliberately overlooking you,
Mm-hmm.
it's that you have not reported it to the folks who need to have it reported.
Right.
That dead animal is not going to get moved by itself.
Yeah, you're right about
It's
that.
gone.
Mhm.
It's not. So all I'm saying is that one of the things we have to do is to request and demand what's rightfully ours
Mhm.
Right.
to have, and we don't do that nearly enough. So, tell us about your folks. You know, you got to talk about
Oh,
your
yeah, well,
folks,
yeah,
for who your people is.
right.
You know,
I
you
have
know.
a great pair of parents that have recently since the grandkids came into place, they really kind of they take the precedence now, but that's another conversation for later. But both of my mom is she's a real estate broker. She works for herself, Home for You Realty at 4000 Vineville. And my dad, he works for himself as well. He's a contractor, GLS Properties, and we have a lot of property around the town. So I saw the 2-parent household growing up. I never had to want for anything. I grew up in North Macon, so I everybody always compares to, like, they get in North Macon, why not else? And I see it. So it's disparities. It really is disparities. And if we all paying our fair share of tax money, we should get the same services as other areas of town.
Mhm.
So that's one thing I would like to advocate for. Talking with some of the residents, they're concerned about their kids and youth and things that they have to do. If you had a chance to watch the debate, I mentioned that there's no rec center outside of 475, and the entire district is outside of 475. And the current commissioner, he responded, that is true, which he couldn't lie about that. But he also made a note that it is a Lozella ballpark and Western Little League, which are totally different from rec centers. And that Lozella ballpark hasn't always been friendly to everybody over the years. So I don't really see how you might think that equate to anything. But South Bend Recreation Center gets a lot of use. That was fun. That was a splash project. So it would be
Yeah.
interesting to see the appetite and where we would, if hold the town hall first to see what people want. And then, get with the county engineer and see what's the best location that could handle the capacity, and move forward from there. But if you're not talking to any of your residents, you don't know. You can. It's impossible to know what they want. So that's what I want to be, is that advocate and the voice in the community. And I'm already putting in a lot of time and effort to do that. Currently, I am the chair of the East Blocks Committee. I'm concerned about my kids' education, so I'm the vice chair of the Heritage School Council. So so if something going on at school, I'm gonna find out about it. I'm on the Making Bill Citizen Advocacy Board, Arbor Conservation Board, a member of the 100 Black Men of Macon Middle, Georgia. I am a football official. I actually went to 4 state championship games, and I serve as the parliamentarian for the Middle Georgia Football Association. So I'm doing a lot, and also on the Bloomfield Gym Advisory Board. So I'm already doing the work, and it's only 24 hours in a day.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, yeah. Some people stretch it,
right, yeah.
though.
So
It's
so
more.
you make time for what you can, and you know, and all, you know, like I said, on top of all that, you still got to manage family and you know, wife and kids, and keep my parents alive. So you know, and
Okay,
that
all
gets
right.
tougher.
Well,
The older they get,
it's
that gets a little
hard
tougher
when you
sometimes.
become a grandparent now.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
right.
that's a different specialty
Yeah,
area. We want to welcome Kimberlyn Carter, who was our guest last week. Yeah, Kimberlyn. And she is one of the ones whose organization, Rep Georgia, is helping to sponsor and keep this program going. And also, Patrick asked the question, could the old Reading Elementary School in Lizella off of Eisenhower be bought by the city and repurposed as a recreation center?
I Commissioner
Go
Commissioner Lucas,
ahead.
you know, if it makes sense, I don't see why not. We've bought another thing. We've bought other things. So
Well,
let's see
you
what.
are right. And I happen to have served on the groups that went around and assessed
Mhm.
what was needed all over as far as recreation. That's always been one of my main things from the very beginning, and that is there weren't a lot of recreational offerings for any of our citizens,
Mhm.
not the young ones and not the older ones either. And right now, because of the citizens approving SPLOS for in the past, we've been able to invest millions of dollars all over the community. However, Lizella in that area
Mhm.
is one of those areas that needs some attention.
Yeah, yeah. The closest
So-
one to my house is from my area is Frank Johnson.
That's a long ways
Yeah,
too.
so yeah,
Mhm.
you got So
Mhm.
and they get a lot of. I use them.
Yeah.
I get use out of them.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And that is the possibility, because the majority of the work on the original plan, the majority of the work has taken place. We're now going back with phase 2 of Frank Johnson and phase 2 of Memorial. And then other work, we did a phase 2 on Dolores Brooks
Mhm.
Park. And now is the time to start looking at what's needed all of. And South Bibb was one of those areas
Right.
where there was nothing out there.
There's a lot out there now.
There's a lot out there now, and I'm just proud to have been a part of that
Mhm.
and to push. And then the Senior Citizen Center,
Mhm.
it is wonderful. And hopefully, before I leave the commission in December,
Mhm.
we will have assessed whether that center meets the needs going forward,
Mhm.
so that we can go ahead and start looking at putting something in place as far as building on what's already there. Kimberlyn replies to Patrick, I thought the school was owned by the East Indian Business Association. Are they no longer there? So that's Patrick, if you will answer that in the chat, or y'all, you can call in to us. The number is 478-250-1444. 478-250-1444. Once again, you have tuned in to Ask Elaine. This program goes so fast. Half of our time is gone, but we're gonna get the rest of this information in with our special co-host over there, Elder Dunning, and our special guest, none other than George Thomas, who is a candidate for County Commission District 6. And we'll get all that information in. Kimberlyn is asking which seat is this? Raymond Wilder. It's Raymond Wilder, who is the incumbent. Bill Howell is over in District 7.
Yeah, and they meet at Harley Bridge Road. That's where they
Uh-huh.
meet at.
Uh-huh. A suggestion to those who are running, I hope that you didn't decide to run and then you decided to read the charter and then look at your maps and all of that. I hope that you did that before. I've been saying that for a long, long time. So, y'all, information is key. It
Mhm.
is so important to be current on the information, because you need to know what the requirements are. As a matter of fact, just about 4 minutes ago, a hearing began at the Board of Elections to determine whether two candidates who are running for sheriff are to be disqualified or not, because the assertion is that there were some requirements that they did not meet. Did you read all of your requirements before you
Yes, I
decided to
did.
run?
Yes, I did. And
Uh-huh.
I know
I did
we
too.
didn't
I
have that
always do that.
additional step though, from since that's
Right,
state. Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
And if you're running for office, you always,
Mhm.
always read I've said, read the charter, read the part that tells you what has to be in place in order for you to be a candidate for this office, how old you have to be, how long you have to have lived in
Mhm.
the county or in the district that you're running for, all of those kinds of requirements. You
Mhm.
need to know that. And then check the paperwork. All of that's available online. Don't if you don't feel comfortable getting it yourself, get you somebody who has worked in campaigns, who's familiar with it. Get Kimberlyn Carter, who knows everything about
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
election,
Kimberly
everything
Carter wants to
that's
know
going.
is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
She want to know, is Elder Dunning on the line?
And we,
The
yes,
last time I checked,
yes.
he is on the line. But I do want to ask the question to Brother Thomas. The I'm very familiar with that area. I moved from North Bibb to Lizella, and I was the permanent substitute teacher at Weaver,
Okay.
and so I'm very familiar with that area of the town. But listen, I wonder, Commissioner, is there any way we could bring some more recreation to the Ed D4 Center? That's a great place to expand to something that he's talking about. And thing I want to ask you, Brother Thomas, the thing in our community is we just don't connect. Sometimes things happen and everybody won't listen to
Right.
Ask Elaine. There has to be more, maybe on social media, do more of the social media stuff. What you're saying and what you want to do is very, very important.
Mhm.
We I hadn't even thought about, for example, we take our kids who are not kids anymore, but we took our kids to different places. We always followed them with band and all that good stuff, and but we don't think about other outlying areas until we
Mhm.
move to
Until you move to them.
Lizelle.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
now you saying the west of 475, there's nothing. I hadn't even thought about it till you brought it up. There has to be a way,
Right.
Mr. Thomas, that we talk about what you can do. Commissioner made a point about we don't have services because we don't think about there's somebody there to do it for you. When I was working for Macon Bibb Public Works, this lady, Commissioner Langlook, would call me. And here's how the tough was. Somebody didn't put that trash out, and they should have put that trash out. But if I get a call from her, sometime the mayor, I promise you that day
You go get
it's gonna disappear.
it.
So the question was, they know they so I would say if you don't get results, call the mayor's office. But I don't know how it is right now. But I know one thing: if you call the right person, you'll get the right
Well,
results.
that's why you elect people
Mhm.
within the district.
That's
You
right.
have someone who's your voice at the table, and
Right.
that person
Mm-hmm.
should be addressing the needs. They should be surveying to find out what the needs
That's
are.
right.
And then when you call them, they should do all they
Mhm.
can. If they know an answer, give
Right.
that information.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't, they need to
Find
tell
it.
you,
Yeah.
I will find. I don't
Mhm.
know. A lady stopped by my the school office today. I didn't know all the information about, but I took a few notes,
Mhm.
and I'm going to find
That's
out.
what I'm
And
saying.
I told her I'd get back to her. You have got to elect people like that,
That's right.
who will not just pass you off to somebody else, but who will know what's going on and will try and address those concerns. Reverend Walter Glover has joined us. He's been with us all the time. We want to say hello to him. And he's thanking us for all we do for Macon. Thank you. Susan Smith has joined us. And I want to. I started talking. There's so much going on that I want to get in before the show is over.
Wow.
But back to that hearing that's
Mhm.
taking place. It's taking place now at your Macon Bibb Board of Elections. It started at 3:30, and it's open to the public. And it's a hearing to determine um, whether two candidates for sheriff will be disqualified for not uh, adhering to all of the requirements.
Requirements.
So we will see. And these two candidates are being given an opportunity to present
Mhm.
why they should not be
Mhm.
disqualified. So that should be very interesting. Let's see what Kimberlyn says. Under a consent agenda, how does a commissioner advocate for a project like this if it's not on the mayor's agenda? Yeah, Kimberlyn, your question is very, very appropriate. And this has been something that's been very frustrating to me because I've served for a lot of years under the committee
And
system
now it's committee of the
where
whole.
we were on committees, we were on several committees, and we had extensive discussion. There is a feeling now that that discussion holds things up. But a lot of times you make quick decisions and they're the wrong decisions.
Mhm.
And in government that's representative government, I feel like you should take all the time that you need. You don't take forever because, stuff needs to happen. But the committee system allows for thorough discussion. It also allows for department heads to come in and to give answers
Mhm.
to things. Under the way that we have government set up now, there's one committee, that's the committee of the
On the
whole,
whole.
and all of the items, the majority of the items are placed on the agenda from the mayor's office. And since we don't have committees, there's not a whole lot of opportunity for individual commissioners to bring things forward and discuss them in the committees. And I think that leaves us open for folks to accuse us of not being transparent. And in a lot of cases, we are not, because only a handful of people know about stuff. But let me tell you this, when y'all went and voted for consolidated
Now, who
government,
is y'all?
you all who voted for it, I didn't. I tried to convince people not to
Mhm.
support it, but it was just a handful of us with no money or whatever.
Mhm.
They had lots and lots of money, went on TV and paid folks and did all this kind of stuff. And not only did they take away and reduce um, black voting strength in this majority black city and majority black county, but they also took away the party designation
Mhm.
and placed us under a nonpartisan
Nonpartisan.
system. They changed the lines that were drawn for each of our individual districts, and they put in term limits
Mhm.
too. So and then that created an extremely strong
Mhm.
mayor
Mhm.
form of government. And so you can't blame somebody if the law is there and it's on their
That's right.
side and it says you are a strong mayor. These are all of your powers and you can do this, this, and this. No matter who's in the mayor's seat, they're going to exercise
That
all the
that
power that
power.
is given to them by the charter. And that is what has happened. And unfortunately, a lot of citizens don't have the
Mhm.
information.
That's right.
So, whenever in my service, I try to get as much information out to people
Yeah.
as I possibly can. And others ought to always do that as well. But you got to know.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
And you're doing that, and I would just share with Brother Thomas, just be more accessible. Have a place like Commissioner Lewis where people can walk in and ask questions and going forward. And she talked about going from a city government and a county government separate to this combined government. and this is my 911 conversation about what happened at 9/11. They never imagined it was going to be like that. And when they consolidated the government, they never imagined. But I just know in this season of Easter, there's an old African American song says, "See how they done my Lord." I see how they done him. They crucified him, they buried him. But I just tell Commissioner Lucas, early on Sunday morning, that was a resurrection. So even though we're going through something right now, look at me, church. There is a resurrection coming.
The preachers
See,
coming out.
y'all looking at
Oh.
Friday. You looking at Friday. We cry on Friday. We mourn on Friday. But just wait till Sunday
He's
morning.
wide open
Bring
today,
somebody in that love people. Bring
He's
somebody
wide.
in that care about the community. There will be a resurrection.
Boy, I tell you, he has preached not one sermon. He's got two in now. And all we got to do is open the doors of the church
Don't forget the offering.
and
Now.
take
Yeah, I'm
up-
about to say, where the collection plate at?
and take up that offering. Some of our guests have posted some comments in the chat where we've got Kimberly, welcome Sharon Woolfolk, and the others who have joined us. And what they're saying is that it would be great to have 6 progressive Democrats elected in districts 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 6 of 9 could veto the mayor if needed. And you're absolutely right. On some issues, there is not a majority. There's not 6 folks to vote against proposals. And so what you have to do is work extremely hard to get people to see your side of it. And you have very few opportunities to present your information and convince others. One example of something that we were able to get a table on was there was a proposal to deny a street light that had been requested in an area. And I hesitate to deny
Street lights,
anybody's
yes, right.
request for a street light since we're focusing on pedestrian safety and
Safety,
all
that's
of
right.
that, which is very, very important. And there's extra money that the mayor has put in the budget for those kinds of things. So I didn't understand why we were denying,
A
why
street
we were
light.
gonna deny that. And so I was able to convince, although we talked a long time, I was able to convince enough of the other commissioners to vote to table it, take a look at it, so that we could then determine if all of the procedures were sufficient to determine whether indeed it was too dark in that area. Our department facilities is limited by staff, and they're also limited in they don't go out at night. So in order to determine how dark something is, a place is, you gotta see it in the light,
dark,
the daytime, and
the night.
at night.
We got to be
And
up.
so that was a selling point. And I was getting real flustered there. And I said, y'all gonna be running for elections real soon. And you're gonna have to explain to people why you felt like you couldn't hold up on this. That's one of the few times, but it shouldn't be that hard to convince people. And so Kimberlyn and Patrick and the others who have voiced this same concern, I have that concern. I want there to be committees where we can have more voices at the table. So it just, if you vote, you can make a difference. And we're gonna get back because our time is gonna be out of here before we know it. But let's move on to some of your priorities. Let's talk about.
Somebody want to know his affiliation, his party affiliation.
Yeah, I'm a member of the Maconville Democratic Party with Commissioner Lucas.
Okay, so go ahead. Your priorities.
All right. So what I would like to do, like I said, I want to advocate, hold our government accountable, use our resources that we have We got a water park that we built.
Oh, I voted against that thing. I knew that wasn't gonna work. They had temporary bathrooms, and no moms are gonna take their children to a
The
temporary bath
bathroom,
with got a little
Porta potty.
but yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
we
anyway,
got
it ended
that
up
is there.
where I said.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So
Go ahead. I
got
keep telling them y'all need to listen to some experience.
Listen to the experience. That's
sometime,
right.
you
That's
know.
right.
we got that.
Go ahead,
You know,
sir.
and it's and so that's I mean that's one thing that's not being used that would definitely, if ran right, it would be pretty good. We need to update the signage. At Lake Tobosoffke, it's been some improvements being made out there. But when you ride, those signs have looked the same at Claystone Park. I'm 32 years old, so I the earliest I probably can remember is 1996. So we go ahead and say this. And also the West Bibb Sheriff Station is sitting there. It doesn't get any use. It's out there. The power is on. The lights on. And so it just I don't know why we don't. Well, I guess we short staff, I'm guessing. But I would like to make sure we utilize what we have, advocate for our infrastructure, and commit to keep the taxes low. Every time it's a budget shortfall, you know, it's always, well, you got to raise property taxes. I am a homeowner. I know sometimes it has to be done, but it's ways that other counties have done it. And like we did, like I proposed, I'm on record as supporting the OLAs. And as far as with the infrastructure needs, we need a lot of work. I know we put some money aside from the new budget for roads, and it's, it's a lot of roads in disrepair, especially in our district. I would like to float the idea of a T-Splosh. It's work in other areas. Athens has one of the most comprehensive trail systems in the state, and it was funded by the T-Splosh. So we could use that for infrastructure. If float the idea to see if it's something if it's something that might go.
Yeah.
So that also it's a lot of things. I'm a Gemini. My mind is always going. I'm always researching. We had to grow our budget. Other similar consolidated governments, such as Columbus has a $300 million budget. Augusta, another similar size. There's around the 280 range. The last one I could get a hold of. We finally made $200 million.
Yeah.
So that's a milestone. But we got to do better. We got to increase the pot. So,
but when you increase it, people think, oh, my taxes are gonna go up. We have decreased taxes.
It's low right now.
The last 4-5 years?
Yeah.
Every year there's been a decrease, but there's been a reevaluation of properties, and the property values are now where they need to be.
Yeah.
Because of that, and sometimes you don't realize
that
the rate is down.
We're lower than surrounding counties right now.
Yeah,
when it comes to property tax, when it comes to the millage rate,
yeah. Because I voted for lowering all of that. Yeah.
So it's a lot of things I want to do.
I like the idea of doing the assessment to see what's needed.
Right.
Because we did that with the recreation master plan, which included all of the facilities, but it was at a point where that area, I don't think we were even consolidated then when we did the assessment to see what areas needed what.
So it stayed in the city because all the parts now, except for South Bibb, was in the old city limits. Yeah. So
yeah. So but there's a need. There's a need for that assessment, and then with an additional splosh, we got to have a jail. What do you think about the jail?
We definitely need a new jail. It's the easy answer where it should be at. I would think. Just put it out the way. Like if you look at every other city, like if you go to Atlanta, when you go to Decatur, you know where their jail's at, and Stonewall Memorial, it look like a hotel. But when you go to Atlanta, you don't know where their jail at. You got to do some joyride.
Fine.
Yeah, like you got to really know where it's at. So yeah, we need to tug it away. My suggestion would be somewhere off 7th Street. There's a lot of space over there. So, yeah, to be tucked off, and we definitely need to move them, move the log truck on 7th Street.
Yeah,
and get
yeah,
them off of MLK.
yeah. It is so important that when people take office, when they're running for office, that they contact people to find out all the things that are already in the works.
Right.
Because a lot of times there are things that are in the works. We don't see them. We don't know about them. And then we say, oh, well, this isn't going on. That's not going on. Check in with different folks so that you can find out what is going on. And so you can say, I'd like to continue that work that's going on, because there's a lot going on.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm excited.
Lot going on.
Yeah, I'm excited.
A lot going on. That Lucas interchange over there that Senator Lucas made sure got done. You know, they didn't even want to put his name on it, but that's okay. We put it on Jeffersonville Road. That's okay. I'm going to forever call it the Lucas Interchange.
That's right. That's right.
But Jeffersonville Road looks nice too.
Yeah.
That road had claimed a lot of rims and alignment over the years.
You're right. You're right. And that's an example of how you can have groups of people to get together and to assess the area, to look at what's needed, and then implement pedestrian safety initiatives in an area when you're doing the road. And so that's one of the things that we are pushing for, and that is to make sure that as you're putting new projects in place, implement the safety measures. 247 out there is like that too. There are a lot of pedestrian friendly kinds of things
Sardis
that
Church
are
Road,
in
the
there.
extension is another example.
That's right.
They got the bike lanes the whole way. So it can be done.
Yeah, I want, since you mentioned potholes, I just want to say I just left the Omega Sci-Fi International headquarters, and the road that's going in there is loaded with potholes.
That's a public road.
The interstate near the Omega Sci-Fi International headquarters, potholes all the way.
That's a federal interstate.
But my point is, people don't know you can call in,
right?
Because the round, it used to be anyway. Round one, if you hit a pothole, it's your problem. If you reported it and somebody hit it, then the county city has to pay. What about potholes?
C-Click Fix is great.
So,
you get this, you take a picture, you put a location on there, like no, you can kind of know where I stay at. No pothole.
No, I was a part of C-Click Fix. Matter of fact, Public Works was the first department to do that.
Right.
And I know one thing: the whip was out there. When he cracked the whip, we made the trip.
Yeah. Kimberlin reminds us that Perry is getting a new company that will pay $40 to $45 per hour. So y'all need to check that out. It's I've forgotten what kind of company it is. They're making maybe parts for something. But yeah, that was announced not too long ago. And we've got to get the mayor of Warner Robins in here too to talk about some of the things that are going on over there in Warner Robins in the surrounding areas. We haven't heard from her in a while. Kim also says you can't lower taxes with a poverty rate as high as ours, no workforce development programming, and no new jobs plans. That's where we need people to attend meetings, town hall meetings, other meetings, and say what you want to have. There are other folks who are saying they're saying what they want. Okay, now we're about to end, and we'll hear that Ask Elaine music in just a minute.
Did y'all notice that was me singing? I just changed.
I know I didn't know.
We know better than that. Pastor, thank you so much for being our co-host, and we're going to have you back in 3 weeks?
Yeah.
We'll have you back. Thank you so much. But we're going to give you the last couple of minutes to restate your reason for running and why people ought to vote for you for District 6.
My reason for running is to be the voice of District 6. We need a commissioner in our district that cares about the entire district, from one end to the top of Lake Wildwood, all the way to the tip top bottom of Lozella, at the corner of Fulton Mill and Lower Hartley Bridge, all the way out to the corner of Knoxville Road. We need representation. If our elected official hasn't had a town hall to hear the concerns of the people, how can he help advocate for the people? I know it's the committee as a whole now, but if your representative is passionate enough, they can have the calls outside of the meetings to advocate for what their district wants. It's a very, like I said, it's a very diverse district, and we need representation that's diverse in City Hall. And so that's why I'm running. I want a better Macon and community for my children, and I'm already doing that work now. Hands-on. Everybody knows who kids are mine because I'm always I'm always there.
That's a good thing.
Yep. So that's and I want that opportunity for everybody. I've been going door to door, knocking on. The best way to meet the residents is at their house. And so I've been going door to door and talking to them and getting the right, getting exactly what they think is wrong. And so we just need that advocate. Better future starts today. Today is always better than tomorrow.
That's
There's
right.
no better time than now.
All
vote
right.
George Thomas.
All right. Thank you so very
All right.
much.
All
Very much.
And I'll be passing my hat around for collection.
Yeah.
Give me
yeah.
a quick sermon, man.
Amen. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in today to Ask Elaine. Just as we promised you, you would get smarter by listening to Ask Elaine today. And so, thank you again, Pastor,
Always
for all
enjoy
that
it.
you have
Always.
to say and add. Thank you, Mr. Thomas,
Glad to be here.
very, very much. Listen, you can't vote if you're not registered.
That's right.
You absolutely cannot. So take care of that business. So we'll see you again next Wednesday at 3 p.m. for another edition of Ask Elaine.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM.